What's up, everyone? It's Denise Salcedo, and I am back with another edition of Speak Now Pro Wrestling. That is twice in one day. I told you guys I'd be back here in a couple of hours, but this time we are talking all things AEW Dynamite. And kind of like every episode, there's always so much that goes down on the show, but this show kind of felt like a little extra. So much was done, so much happened, so many matches, so many multi-man matches, so many vignettes, so many different directions it looks like we're heading in as we lead into both Rampage and All Out. It kind of feels like there are several question marks up in the air right now, specifically with a specific topic, which we will break into in just a minute because everybody is already sending in comments about that, which we will get to. But overall, I thought today's episode of AEW was an interesting one because it wasn't necessarily an episode that I would say that I loved. However, I will say this, I was still entertained throughout the entire show. And again, so much happened that it kind of felt like, just things were moving so fast that the show completely flew by. So even though it probably wasn't my favorite episode of Dynamite, it was still a pretty entertaining episode to say the least. But we are getting so many super chats because everybody wants to know what the hell is going on with Christian Cage, Kenny Omega, that all-out match? What is happening here? And we're going to dive right into that. And we're going to go through the show in chronological format. However, that does happen near the top of the show. So we will jump into all of that here today. But first and foremost, I'm going to read some super chats from you guys. We got one. Our first one was actually from Jose Bautista, who says, what do you think is going to happen in All Out between Christian and Kenny Omega? Since they're facing off Friday, I don't see AEW doing a rematch at All Out. So they announced, commentary announced that this match was happening, Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega, when the Elite was making their entrance for their match. However, it was almost like you could have even missed it, to be honest. I mean, they obviously made the announcement. It was kind of clear, but it was also enough to they didn't really put a major emphasis on that, is what I'm saying. When I heard it, I thought, did I even hear that right? Is this where we're going? I know a lot of people had already guessed that we were probably going to be having that match at All Out, but I was kind of no, maybe they're going to find something else, etc. However, with the way that it was announced today and then everything that sort of happened afterwards, I still do not think, I am not convinced that we are going to be seeing Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage at All Out. And I'm going to get into more specifics and what I think is actually going to go down in just a bit, but thank you so much to Jose Bautista for sending in the first super chat. We also got another super chat from Taylor Cannon. Thank you so much to Taylor, who says, curious to see what happens with Omega versus Cage next week. I feel a swerve coming. I think that if you are feeling sort of unsure about the direction in which they're heading in with this match at All Out, I don't blame you because I am on the exact same page. I do not feel that this is going to be the match. Now, it does bum me. Obviously, I don't know. It could be Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. It could be Kenny Omega versus somebody else. But my heart was still set on Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page, and I still don't know exactly what they're going to be doing with Hangman Page at All Out. And so kind of right now, for me, this kind of feels a little bit disappointing until they actually make this announcement, until we actually see how things are going to, culminate. I am not excited about it. So I'm going to have to wait and see and play it out. If there was anything that I saw today was that even though there were people that were like, I'm not really, I don't care so much about Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega, a lot of people were basically saying they trust AEW and they trust AEW's booking. And so that trust, they have it from the fans, which is why I'm still not jumping off a bridge here, kind of losing my mind. Why the hell aren't we getting Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega like we all thought? Because at the end of the day, I still think that AEW, obviously, as a new company, still has that trust from the people. For the most part, I wouldn't say that they've let us down in terms of the booking decisions, I wouldn't say that they've let us down. So as of right now, I don't have a reason to doubt that there's going to be a payoff to this that people can genuinely get excited about. So thank you so much to Taylor Cannon for sending in this awesome super chat. I really appreciate it. We got another super chat from Wrestling Gamer who says, somebody should probably check on SRS. I'm wearing MDK Salcedo. Might have given him the gauge treatment. BTW, I want to thank everybody, by the way, because everybody was hitting me up after that GCW show in Los Angeles, and everybody was sending very nice comments to me. So I just want to say thank you so much, guys, and I hope to continue doing some more ring announcing with GCW and maybe other places. Whoever will book me, if there's money involved, I will be there. Thank you so much to Wrestling Gamer for sending in this super chat here. And I think we had another one that I thought I saw. Here we go. We do. This one is from Nick Grasso, who says, I don't get them booking Omega versus Cage twice. Really don't know where they are going with this. I love how right now all of the super chats are about this. Everybody is curious. What the hell are they going to do with Kenny Omega, Christian Cage? So I'm going to jump right into that now, since that is what the people want to talk about. And so here we go, guys. Actually, hold on. We got another super chat. Let me check this one out here. This one is from Colette Adam, who says, poor Christian getting drowned out by the CM Punk chants. Oh, we will get to that in just a second, because that is a very telling sign. If they were at any moment really going to go forward with Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega, I think the crowd kind of said it all. All right. So really quickly, we did have an MJF Wardlow promo that kicked off the show. Just the kind of the gist of this, the main event for tonight was that that fourth labor. So MJF kind of was a little hard on Wardlow during this opening promo, where he essentially, he's eating an apple, he's addressing Chris Jericho, etc. And then at the end of it, he basically places very aggressively that apple on Wardlow's hand and basically just tells him you need to get the job done. So there was a little bit of a tease there that, kind of Wardlow had this irritated look on his face. So anyways, let's jump into what everybody wants to talk about right now. And that is the Christian Cage, Kenny Omega story. All right. So we had the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. They're in this match with Dante Martin, Matt, and Mike Sydal, which this is what's kind of a little bit, not irritating, but this is what's a little bit complicated, because within the match itself, we do have to talk about the fact that Dante Martin, holy cow, this was a showcase for that kid. He came out and he utilized this moment, this opportunity, who he's in the ring with, what show he's on, what moments he's getting. He completely utilized that to the best of his potential. They did such a good job at essentially highlighting Dante Martin's strengths during this match. They showed, all of the cool things that he can do. He literally went out there and just did a bunch of cool stuff, and the crowd ate it up. The crowd completely got behind Dante Martin. He got so over with the Dynamite audience, and then there was a bunch of near falls between him and Kenny Omega towards the end of this match, that there were several people in the crowd that were buying the fact that there was maybe a chance that Dante Martin could actually pin the AEW champion Kenny Omega. And so that to me was a very simple and effective way to get this kid over on Dynamite in front of that Dynamite audience. And this was great. I thought they did a phenomenal job at making us care maybe just a little bit more about Dante Martin. We saw so much from him. We saw a hurricanrana from the top rope. We saw some moonsaults. Kenny Omega hits him with a V-trigger. He gets out of it. Eventually, he ends up hitting him with another V-trigger and the one-winged angel. And he also takes a V-trigger. So at the end of the day, yeah, he loses, but it still was a highlight here. We got several comments on Dante, guys, and we should, because that was literally a very, very nice star-making performance for him, at least as a young talent on the roster here. This is a comment from Havan the Legend, who says, I love how the crowd didn't care about the faces, but they won the crowd over halfway through and the crowd bought it. Hell yeah. I mean, you're in there with the elite. Even if they're heels, they're still going to be the crowd favorites. And, they were dominating predominantly a lot of this match. But once you saw Matt Sydal get that hot tag, the match sort of went on to a different, faster pace. And that's when we later on saw Dante Martin being highlighted very, very well. So good stuff there. And this is a comment from Faustin316, who says, Dante literally brought me to my feet in my home. Major Blood says, I would totally not be against Dante Martin getting a match against Kenny Omega. Omega could be overconfident and so egotistical that he could give Dante a title match on an episode of Dynamite. And it's kind of similar to what we saw play out, not superbly similar, but during that match with Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy. If you remember, during that match, Kenny Omega was like overtly confident that he wasn't expecting Jungle Boy to come at him with everything in his arsenal. And obviously, Dante Martin's not at the Jungle Boy level, but it reminded me of that when you brought this comment up here. Sticker Reds 202 says, Dante made his whole career tonight. Dude, he was shining. So good for him. Josh Bowen says, Dante Martin was very impressive. He won me over tonight. Won me over too. Julian points out the dude is only 20 years old. Is he really only 20 years old? I was not aware of that. He's 20 years old. Julian says they made him look like a megastar. By they, I mean the Bucks, Kenny, and the crowd. Tremendous opener. 100% agree with all of this too. So good stuff there. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments because everybody is just, okay, so yeah, he's definitely 20 years old. A lot of people are pointing that out right as of this moment. Mikey Dreamer says, I'm glad Dante's getting a chance to shine with his brother Darius out with injury. Yeah, that's always, you just never know. Sometimes in those situations, you can be put on the back burner, put on the back seat, put on the bench, whatever you want to call it. But they did a good job here. We have an interesting comparison. This one is from Weehee to Cole, who says, Dante Martin is Ricochet in the making. That's interesting. I mean, we've all know what's been going on with Ricochet. Not much, but they did a good job today. Anyways, let's get to the meat of this, because this is where I think a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people were left confused, but I think people were left a little bit question marks up in the air, everybody, because post-match, we had Don Callis, essentially, he's addressing Pittsburgh. He's telling them that they've never seen a team like the Elite before. And then Christian comes out. Now, keep in mind that the audience at this point in time, the live audience is not aware that this match has been made official. Us, the people at home know this because it was announced on commentary, but the people there were not aware of it unless they were on their phones on Twitter or something. But anyway, so you have Don Callis reiterates to the crowd that Christian Cage is getting his title shot at All Out. And I will tell you this, the fans didn't care. They were chanting CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. People were chanting yes, and not because they wanted the match, but because they were cheering for Dan. They were calling out for Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. And so it's like, that was not a good sign. If at any point they thought, hey, maybe we could do Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega at All Out, this was a very, very telling this is very telling in that that's not the way that people want to go. Because again, the number one thing, and I'm going to say it again, the people wanted Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. That was the story that they had been telling. That was the story we were anticipating. And he is over as hell. Hangman Page comes out. You're not going to get CM Punk chants. You're not going to get those yes chants. You're going to get those cowboy shit chants. So this was a very, very telling portion of the show. But let's continue on because more happens. So first and foremost, we have a super chat from Havan the Legend, who says, what's your tag match for All Out? We'll get to that in a second. I don't want to get all, because this is going to sort of play into that because we do have a tag team match that was announced. So we'll get to that in a second. But thank you so much to Havan the Legend. We got a super chat from Christopher Marino, who says, I think they will do an injury angle with Christian with the Elite attacking him to put him out of All Out. So Christopher Marino, we are sort of on the same wavelength here. And again, I will get to my prediction in a second on what's going on there. But thank you so much for the super chat as well. And I'm seeing a lot of people here that are disappointed, a lot of people that are taken aback by the responses. We have a comment from Nicholas who says, I'm so disappointed it won't be Hangman versus Omega at my home in Chicago. Slarty Bardfast says, I'm still taken aback by that response. I do feel like Omega isn't an automatic win anymore. Don't know why. And then this is another interesting comment. The famous Red Punk says, no Adam Page chance had me worried. That was another telling part, and I wanted to tweet about that, but I completely forgot. Now, this may just been, the crowd getting overexcited, but when they did make that announcement of, hey, it's going to be Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega, there shouldn't have been CM Punk chance. There shouldn't have been yes chance. There should have been cowboy shit chance, because everybody knows that felt like the direction that they were heading in. Like, that was supposed to be your Kenny Omega, your Kenny Omega Adam Page match. And that was a little, I wouldn't say that was telling. I don't think so. I do not think that was telling. I just think that the fans got overtly excited with the news and everything surrounding, the quote unquote possible debut of CM Punk on AEW, and also of that of Bryan Danielson. So it's like, I almost feel like maybe they forgot. I don't know. Maybe it is telling. I don't know what to tell you, but I do think that had they announced Adam Page versus Kenny Omega is official at All Out, I do not think that the people would have been chanting anything else. So that's where I do want to get at with that there too. All right. Again, we got so many comments here. So let's jump into, because this isn't it, guys. So much happened here. All right. So we have some back and forth between Don Callis and Christian Cage. They were sort of, for a moment, you can kind of tell that maybe they weren't expecting those CM Punk yes chants, but Don Callis is a pro. They're all a pro. They quickly, bounce back from that, and, they burn each other. And you do see that back and forth between Christian Cage and Don Callis there. But then it is announced that, and this is where things get a little interesting. It's announced that this Friday at the world premiere of Rampage, the debut of Rampage, the opening match on the card is going to be Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for his Impact World title. And this kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't expect for them to do this. And that's when I was like, okay, my initial instincts that Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage at All Out, my instincts that match was not going to happen were sort of confirmed when this announcement was made. Because my prediction is that either there's going to be different options here. There's different options that I'm going to lay out in front of you. So first and foremost, there either might be some sort of non-finish during that match. And then that non-finish could be, Christian getting taken out. He could get attacked. And then essentially being eliminated out of this match from All Out. Maybe he's unable to compete and therefore is replaced. Okay, that's an option. Or you have Christian Cage actually defeat Kenny Omega for the Impact World title. But then, to be honest, that does not seem like a good idea whatsoever. I'm not a fan of that idea. And it's not because I don't want to see Christian Cage as champion or anything like that. It's just that Kenny Omega, he's the belt collector. He's doing, this and that. And it just doesn't seem to me like Christian would be the right person to, take that belt from him. And then if that doesn't happen, and let's say he does win the title, right? He wins the Impact World title, Christian Cage. Then we're still going to get this match at All Out. That doesn't make sense either. So then you have Kenny Omega defeat Christian Cage, all right? Let's say he defeats Christian Cage and he retains the Impact title. Okay, fine. But why would you do this match again at All Out? So there's got to be something. Something has to happen where either Christian is going to be taken out to the point where he can't compete and is going to be replaced. Who he's going to be taken out exactly by, I do not know. It could be the other members of the Elite. It could be an outsider. I have no idea. But that seems to me like the direction we are heading in. And this does feel like it's going to be some sort of swerve where we're not essentially going to get, again, that Omega cage match, excuse me. So what do you guys think about that? Am I on the money here? Am I completely off? Do you have a better idea of how this is going to play out? Go ahead and let me know in the chat. And we're getting so many comments about this because everybody's like, WTF, what is going on? We got a super chat. This one is from Lawrence Carter Long, who says, Christian did a fabulous job turning the crowd with the jag-off line. Not 100% sold, but I'm closer. Keen to see where they go from here. They won me over. So I'll just be real with you guys. I've never heard the jag-off line. Like, I had no idea what exactly that was all about. I'm assuming that's like slang. I've never heard that. So I didn't necessarily pop for it because, again, I didn't really know the meaning of that. But either way, I could tell based on the crowd reaction that he did sort of win the crowd back after those initial chants that were unfavorable, to say the least. So thank you so much to Lawrence for sending in that super chat. We got another super chat from Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says, the Steelers have played the Cowboys in 3 Super Bowls. That crowd isn't used to chanting for a cowboy. Okay, that's hilarious. I'm not like a football expert by any means. I'm not even like a beginner. I'm not even like a fan. I watch games. I'm obligated to root for the New York Jets, but that's about the extent of my knowledge of football. But thank you so much to Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury for sending in this super chat right over here. And all right, I'm scrolling through a couple more comments, guys. Get your comments in here. I'm going to try to get some non-super chat ones as well to include your thoughts on here. And let's see what we got here. So many different comments on what is going on here. All right, I'm going to start off by reading this one from Lenny, who says, I don't see this match happening twice in 4 weeks, especially not with the reaction this got live tonight. They do have limited options for me. The best option being Darby at All Out. I think Christian will be the stepping stool for whoever does get the title shot at All Out. That I do, again, I completely agree. I don't want to necessarily say that he's the stepping stool, but I do think that he's going to be replaced there. All right. We have a comment from Alex Mannion who says, quote, I feel like Cage will win the Impact title and have to defend it at All Out, opening up a match against Kenny. Oh, so you mean like a separate match? I'm a little confused by that. Sorry. But I think I get where you're going there. We got another super chat from Daniel Zambrano who says, AEW has everyone guessing. No one knows, expecting surprises at TV. This is how you make people tune in. Christian equals super pro, getting the crowd back. Yes, credit to Christian Cage for getting the crowd back. And here, that is the thing though, is well, I am not so far excited in terms of I was set on that Hangman Page match because a lot of times so much of what we expect to happen in the world of wrestling is sort of predictable, right? You can sort of guess where these storylines are going, where they might be headed, okay? And that's the thing, though. With this felt very unexpected. I wasn't expecting this. Again, I know people were, already guessing that it would be Christian Cage being that number one contender because that was mentioned on Dynamite. But for it to officially be made, quote unquote, be made, but then also have this added, addition of them putting the Impact title on the line on their show, that was unexpected. So I do agree with Daniel Zambrano that I like the fact that we're all here trying to figure out what is going to happen. And it's proof that it's working because everybody is talking about it. And even heading into the show, I figured, all right, this topic alone is going to take up a majority of the show. And we're already 20 minutes in. And this is what we're still talking about, the opening segment of AEW. So in that sense, you can say that this is a win because people are talking. So thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending in that super chat there. And we got everybody's I'm just laughing at some of the chat comments, guys. We got another super chat from Francis Ivan Tria, who says the Elite mentioning Hangman later than Dark Order coming out incomplete tells me they still have something for Hangman. They gotta have something for him. They gotta. I'm flying myself out to Chicago. If I don't see Hangman Page there, I will riot. It won't be a one-woman riot because I'm sure other people will riot with me. Thank you so much to Francis for sending in this super chat, BTW. And let's see what else we got here. Comment from Chris Dunaway, who says Hangman needs to show to himself. If you do Omega versus Hangman at All Out and Punk debuts, it overshadows Hangman's win. I think Punk is not technically, but we're expecting him to debut at Rampage, though. He's not. The theory is, and all the Easter eggs are pointing to that second week episode of Rampage. So I think by then, by All Out, a little bit of that overshadowing would kind of be washed away because people are like, all right, he's already here. We already know he's here. Cool. Let's move on. So I don't think that would be necessarily the case. And I think that Hangman Page is over enough and people were interested in the story enough to, pay its respects if Hangman Page were to win the title. I just think that there's still so much more to do with Kenny Omega, so much more that you can do with Kenny Omega as champion right now, that's why I feel like they're not pulling the plug yet on Hangman Page because they're still trying to get so much more out of Kenny Omega. So there you go as well. And let's see what else we got. We got so many comments here. Major Blood says Hangman is taking time off to be with his wife and become a father. Him being off TV will help when he makes his big return. And that's the thing, though, is that I get it. Like a lot of people have been bringing that up. So I do not know. I don't want to speculate on any of that because I don't know what the situation is with that. So I wouldn't feel confident saying, oh, yeah, he's going to take time off to be with his wife. I do not know about that. So we got a comment from Devin who says, I don't know how, but I think that despite reports, we get Hangman versus Omega at All Out somehow. I'm not sure about Hangman winning now, but I see us still getting there. Advi, Devin, I appreciate you because you're optimistic and I feel like I connect with that because in my twisted, warped mentality, even though I saw the reports, I'm kind of like, oh, but I still have hope. I still have this hope that maybe, just maybe, it'll be Hangman versus Omega. But my realistic side is probably saying, no, Denise, that's not going to happen anymore. Like, that's past. The ship has sailed, girl. The ship has sailed. We don't know again. So we'll see all of that in a second. And all right, guys, let's kind of move past this. I'm going to go through a couple more comments here on what they've got going on. This is another comment from Pomi who says, I think they've ridden Hangman out of TV with last week's assault, and I feel like they'll do the same with Christian on Rampage. I have no idea who will face Kenny at All Out at this point. Someone says, is Punk versus Darby a worthy main event at All Out? Look, CM Punk obviously... so let's say he debuts at Rampage, all right, the 20th, which chances are that's definitely happening. We have probably 1-2 shows. You got 2 episodes of Dynamite and 2 episodes of Rampage before heading into All Out. Sorry, I was looking at my calendar to figure out how many shows we have until All Out. That is sort of enough time to build a story there. So I could say yes, but I would like to see an actual story being told. And based on the fact that there would be essentially 4 episodes before All Out, I could say that there is definitely a possibility there. And let's see what else we got here. We got a super chat from Dr. Sophia Bonilla, DWO EVP. Thank you so much to Sophia, who says, Punk versus Black and Black kills him, swerve. Oh, Malachi Black. That would definitely be interesting as well. But again, here's the thing with CM Punk and Bryan Danielson is that these are guys that they based on like even just the matches that you are seeing people fantasy book, it's like they don't need to be in that championship picture. They don't need to go immediately for the bout or anything like that, because there are so many different matches that you want to see these guys have. And already I've been seeing people, name so many different matches. You got people wanting to see CM Punk Darby, CM Punk Malachi Black, and so many others. So they could easily do anything, really. The opportunities are endless there. We got another super chat from Diable37 who says, we are so trained by WWE's every month pay-per-view turnaround booking that some are not giving AEW the benefit of the doubt with 3 weeks left. That is true. I do kind of agree with that in that sense that, hey, we're looking at the calendar and we're thinking, how much time do we got? If you're going to pull the plug here, how much time do we got to tell a story, essentially? So thank you so much to Diable37. Also, shout out to Stephen Duggan, who says that he watched me play Werewolf twice on Board Game Club with Adam and all those people. Really, really fun time. Thank you so much to Stephen for bringing this up, by the way. And oh my God, we got so many comments about this, guys. Another super chat from Connor Delaney, who says, in the case for Hangman, he might get the title at Full Gear. Omega would have held the belt for nearly a year. It would be time to pull the trigger. Again, let's not forget about Full Gear. I just feel that by the time we get to Full Gear, there's going to be a lot of options for these big matches, maybe even more so than, All Out. So again, we'll see what goes down with Full Gear. And I'm not even planning on going to Full Gear. So I'm starting to feel a little FOMO here. I can't afford to go to all these wrestling events, guys. We'll see. Alrighty. Oh my gosh, we got so many comments on this, but there you guys go. If we didn't touch on anything, if you're watching the replay of this, you are more than welcome to add your predictions on this Christian Cage, Kenny Omega situation. More than welcome to leave your comments in the comment section afterwards. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, guys, because we got so much that went down here on Dynamite. So BTW, for those that are right now in this stream, heads up, this Friday, I will be live because, well, I'm always live on Fridays, but not only will I be recapping WWE Smackdown, but I will also be here to talk about the world premiere of Rampage. And that's going to be very exciting because we're going to be able to see what kind of show this is going to be in comparison to Dynamite. And they're obviously going to put a lot on this show and jam pack it in that 1 hour. So it is going to be interesting what happens. We got a super chat from Daniel Zambrano who says, Denise, what about CM Punk versus Colt Cabana in Chicago? Building explodes. Dude, I have no idea what their situation is anymore because, that whole friendship got ugly and, so much happened. You guys all know. I don't even want to speculate because I do not know if they're friendly or if they're not friendly. I legitimately have no idea. So I'd rather not even speculate on that. But thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending in the super chat. We got another super chat from Mike in Brooklyn who says, how was meeting Green Arrow? Big fan. Yesterday, I met Stephen Amell. It was nice. He's a nice guy. I only got one question. I got my one question in. He's a busy man. He was doing his premiere for Heel. So that was obviously, I got my question in and kind of that was about it. That's definitely posted up on my channel, but a very, very nice guy. Very nice to meet him. Thank you so much to Mike and Brooklyn for asking. All right, here we go, guys. Malachi Black. Get your comments in because we got a quick vignette here. A promo, and he's essentially saying that there's no room for second guessing in the House of Black. He says that him and Cody, they're both lonely. He's addressing what happened last week, which was the big story. Cody is looking like he's taking some time off. He took the boot off in the ring and all of that. And Malachi Black shows that he has the one boot of Cody. And then he says that he essentially has 1 foot in the grave. And then he says that Cody is arguing with God, therefore referring that Malachi Black is now a god. And I made a joke on Twitter where I was like, all right, so Malachi Black is God now. That means Miro is his favorite champion. Miro is his favorite wrestler because that's what Miro has been doing, a lot of the god stuff as well. Quick thoughts on Malachi Black. I felt like I don't know where they're going with Malachi Black anymore, because Cody seems to be done for a bit. So it kind of seems like they got to shift into something new for Malachi Black. I don't know when that's going to happen. Clearly wasn't tonight, which is fine because you do want to address the events from last week. But let's see what you guys all thought here. All right. And, okay, we got so many comments here. Shave McQueen says that's not what he meant. He meant all Cody has left is prayers. I took it as he said that that Cody is arguing with God, essentially. That's what he said. That's what I wrote down. That's what we got here. Daniel points out that Black feels like a legit superstar, a big deal. I like the way that they are presenting him with these vignettes. They're not overdoing it. They're not overcomplicating it. I don't like the whole, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, all this poetic stuff for like 40 minutes and get nowhere with it. So I like the way that they are doing the storytelling where they're adding to his character, but they're not prolonging it and adding all of this unnecessary stuff. And we got people just basically saying that they're really happy to see Malachi Black in AEW. Daniel also points out that Miro versus Black would be good as well. And Samson Paul says Black versus Alan Angels, obviously. And we got a lot of people here fantasy booking what we're going to do with Malachi Black. And yeah, people are also pointing out Black and Murphy would be great. Everybody saw that video that Murphy posted on social media. So that's interesting as well. Again, a lot of options that you can do there. Alrighty, guys. So here we go. And let's jump into this next match, Darby Allin versus Daniel Garcia. I'll be honest with you guys. This was probably not one of my favorite portions of the show. It wasn't my least favorite, but it wasn't one of my favorites portions of the show. So Daniel Garcia, for the most part, he has only won one match. That was on Dark. So really nothing to brag about since he lost all other 6 matches. However, I will say this, and maybe this is a little unfair to Daniel Garcia. However, in that opening match, and we spent several minutes talking about this, Dante Martin was a standout, okay? He's not somebody we see very often on Dynamite. So when we do see him, so he's as somebody that's not seen very often on Dynamite, and he came off as very impressive. The bar was set a little higher for those people that we're not as familiar with. I'm not familiar with Daniel Garcia as much as maybe some other people are, but with that being said, given the fact that I was so impressed with Dante Martin and that, that pedestal was a lot higher, I didn't think that this was a blow away match. I didn't think this was a standout match whatsoever. And given that, you only really get any moment of TV time that you get, in my opinion, you got to wow the audience. This did not wow me. This did not do anything for me. So I really wasn't all that crazy about this match. But anyways, we see some slaps from Darby Allin to Daniel. He does a coffin drop, but Garcia gets him in a rear naked choke. After this, you see Darby hit him with a stunner and then another coffin drop for the actual win. Again, this was And post-match, we do see Sting and Darby be on 2.0, which is the former Ever Rise. So am I wrong here? Send in your thoughts. How did you guys feel about Darby versus Daniel Garcia? Our Rig says, I don't care about 2.0. I don't get why they are here. I feel bad. Like they got released. It sucks. I'm happy they found work elsewhere, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that I was the biggest Ever Rise fan or the biggest 2.0 fan. They still got to do a lot to make me a fan because I'm not there yet. So there you go. Justin Martin has a positive comment. He says, I'm impressed with Garcia and his technicality, his technically style. Man, I can't read anymore, guys. This is my second show. I'm falling apart. Justin says Darby winning was obvious, but it was interesting. Yeah, we all knew Darby was going to win here. That's perfectly fine. Sheev McQueen says Garcia is green, but he's good. And Gerardo says Dante was booked to shine. Garcia wasn't. That is true. Gerardo has a point there as well. And Adam Russo says Garcia seems like he has a lot more to show. He's no Wheeler Yuta. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like even Wheeler Yuta, when he, had his match a couple weeks ago, last week, I forget when, he he was a standout. People were talking about him. So with that being said, like, you got to be a standout whenever you get these opportunities. And someone says you're not wrong. Next segment. And I'm going to read a couple more comments. This one is from Iron Eyes Corey, who says, wish they would tell us about Garcia and his partners. 2 weeks and announcers barely told us anything about them. Not all of us watch WWE. Oh, in regards to 2.0. Okay, I see what you mean, Iron Eyes. I agree. A lot of people aren't going to know about 2.0 or who they are or anything like that. But Labor Days feels that they are hilarious and have good character work. I'm not really that big of a fan as of right now, but we'll see. I tend to change my mind. We had a comment from Cena Nuffs, who says Garcia's more of a slow-paced technical wrestler, but you can tell he's still getting used to TV. Of course, but that is exactly why, Dark and Dark Elevation are there to keep getting those guys to get used to being on television and all of that. And this is a comment from Sean who says, saw Garcia on my local indies a ton of times. He's better than what he has shown so far. Hope they give him more matches. I love this. Great insight, because as somebody, like I said, who's not familiar with him, this didn't win me over. But hearing a comment that Sean just posted right here saying that he's, seeing that he has more to offer, that's great to hear. And I'm sure they wouldn't have put him on the roster or on the spot if they didn't see something in him. And all right, guys, here we go. We're going to go ahead and move on. All right, so we got a quick backstage segment. Death Triangle is in the back. And as you know, they've been doing this like back and forth with Andrade and Chavo and all of that. So you have Death Triangle. Phoenix is essentially asking Pac if he has seen what Andrade is trying to do and trying to recruit with them and all of that. And then Penta takes over and he tells Pac that he wants to get his hands on Andrade, says that they're perros sin casa. For those of you guys who do not know, means he called them dogs without a house or dogs that have no home. And Pac says that they don't have to worry about Andrade, that he is going to be the one to take care of Andrade. He then addresses Andrade and basically says that he doesn't know why he's so obsessed with them. And he tells them, I'm easy to find. Simple and effective. We got a comment from the famous Red Punk who says, Andrade has been very underwhelming so far in terms of booking. Hope we are proving wrong. I read this comment because I've been saying this every week. And once we get to, I might as well read it now. So later on in the show, we do get a segment with Andrade and Chavo. And I don't think they've named the other guy that's with them. But anyways, he comes out and he addresses Pac's statement, and he starts to say that Pac is ungrateful, that he's not respectful. Chavo takes over. He tells Andrade, oh, you should face Pac at All Out. Andrade kind of gets a little irritated by this, and he's like, I'm the boss. Like, I say when I have these matches. So with that being said, guys, I got to agree with this comment. I haven't been feeling what they're doing with Andrade so far. I'm not a fan of it. As much as I like Chavo, and I do think that he's needed because, people have pointed out that obviously they need somebody to translate and all of that. And I get that. Okay, I get that. But they need to find a way to make it work, because right now, so here's, you got people like MVP and Bobby Lashley. They work great because MVP has highlighted Bobby Lashley in a really great way. You have Paul Heyman, who highlights Roman Reigns in a really great way. I do not think that Chavo is doing the same thing for Andrade. It feels to me like he's sort of taking a little bit away from his like star presence, and he's got the look, he's got the star presence, but it does not seem to be connecting with the people. And so I kind of felt today almost like I didn't want to have the inclusion of Chavo, and I didn't want to have the inclusion of the other guys in the back. Essentially, I don't even know what his purpose is. I kind of felt like they were all just a distraction. It didn't feel like they were adding to Andrade El Idolo. It felt like they were taking away from Andrade El Idolo. So they got to find a way to present it in a way where they don't do that. So thoughts on this, guys, and then we'll circle back and talk about some other stuff as well. So let's see what else we got here. Mike Brooklyn says Zelina was perfect for Andrade. We got so many comments on this, actually. And we also have another super chat from Daniel Zambrano. Daniel, man, thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. And this is a comment from Labor Days who says, there isn't a coherent direction for Andrade. It feels to me like, obviously, there's a direction in the sense that, they're leading up into this match with Pac. That's fine. It's going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be a great match. I feel like it's going to be a good match. But in terms of everything else, it feels very disconnected because even when he debuted, they had that whole thing with Vicky. I liked it for the most part, but a lot of people did not. So, okay, the majority, they realized that it wasn't connecting with the majority of people. So they ended that. And now it's like they're trying something else here. And this just, for me, it's not working. Pro Wrestling Fan says, Andrade has been getting criticized. Don't think it's AEW because in AAA he had a match with Laredo Kid and he was wrestling a WWE style. So I didn't see that match, but I did hear about this. And that's a little bit, I don't know if I want to, terrifying is not the right word. That's a little too dramatic, but it's not a good sign is what I'm getting that. And so Pro Wrestling Fan does bring up a legitimate point there. Obviously, the WWE style, we're not even going to get on that, but he definitely has a point because I'm just going to end up going in an entirely different direction if I touch on that right now. Alrighty, let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Bloody Blues who says, I think ever since his lackluster debut, both in and out of the ring, he's been solid. And now with Chavo and the Death Triangle, there's a lot of upside to Andrade. He and Pac will kill it. Stop worrying. I don't worry, guys. It's my job. Part of my job is to come out here and, analyze this show and tell you what's a hit, what's a miss, at least in my opinion. It's up to you guys if you don't have to take my opinion. But I wouldn't say I'm worried. That's a little too dramatic. But we got a super chat from Christopher Marino. Thank you so much to Christopher who says, I'm not feeling Andrade either, but it gets me my fave tag team, the Lucha Brothers. I will live with it. Love the Lucha Brothers. Definitely want to see a lot more with them. I like the Death Triangle. I like what they're doing. It's a kind of an odd couple sort of pairing. I'm a fan of that. So thank you so much to Christopher Marino for sending in this super chat. And then Wrestle War says, Pac speaking Spanish was fun. He was speaking Spanish? What? I did not hear Spanish from him. That was definitely, unless you're making a joke about his heavy accent. I'm assuming that's what it was. I don't know. And let's see what else we got here. And I'm going to skip through. We're getting so many comments on all of this. And this one is from Nicholas who says, I think Andrade will get better after the Lucha Bros join him. We'll show he has the power to make people want to join him once the stable is making things better. Yeah, I do want to see that. Even though I'm a fan of Death Triangle and Pac and the Lucha Brothers, I do think that it's going to essentially work out with them essentially joining up with Andrade because it will be good stuff there. It really will be good stuff there. And people are just basically saying that they want to see him in a stable. All right, cool. So at least we know what direction people want to see. I love it. All right, guys, let's move on from this. This is afterwards. We got Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Quinn. So we got Matt Hardy and Orange Cassidy kicked off this match. I liked their interaction with them. Obviously, as you guys know, interacting with Orange Cassidy is always really fun. You have Matt doing his, delete gesture. Orange Cassidy takes his hand, puts it in his pocket. And so that was pretty funny there. We see a lot of nice teamwork here between Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta throughout this match. Then during this match, we do see Nyla Rose attack Kris Statlander from behind. As you guys know, they had a match later on in the show. We see Orange Cassidy do a tope suicida on Hardy. We see Yuta do a splash off the top rope onto Mark Quinn. Yuta does a German suplex on Mark Quinn. Isaiah breaks it up. Private Party hit the gin and juice on Yuta, but Orange Cassidy breaks it up. Matt Hardy ends up pinning Wheeler Yuta for the win. So this was a fine match. Fine. Nothing like I haven't seen before, but it was perfectly okay. And we got a comment from Famous Red Punk who says, I also want to see Yuta win. He's so good. The people are loving Wheeler Yuta. It's been nonstop, but praise for him. So good for him. He's clearly getting over. D. Eddie says, I really liked individual bits of the match, but I suppose I'm the weird one here and that I thought the overall match was a mess. Look, at the end of the day, this wasn't an amazing match by any means, but it was fine. It wasn't anything to be I wouldn't say that I was like, oh my God, this match sucked, but I wouldn't say that it was great either. So it was what it was. Justin Martin says, I cracked up at Orange Cassidy doing a half-hearty pose and falling off the bottom rope. And then what else we got here? And I'm laughing at a couple of other comments. All right, everybody here loves Wheeler Yuta. Yay, that's what we get from this. All right, guys, moving on. After this, we had so many vignettes today, guys. I feel like there's always a lot of vignettes on AEW, but today kind of felt like more vignettes. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but we have a Santana and Ortiz vignette, and they just basically say they're coming for blood over and over, addressing FTR. I'm assuming that we're going to see them in FTR again, and that's bound to happen. All right, moving on, because I actually really enjoyed this next match. Nyla Rose versus Kris Statlander. As we mentioned, Nyla attacked Kris Statlander from behind during that match, but they kick off this match, guys, and I gotta say, I was a fan of this. And the reason why I was a fan of this is because a couple weeks ago, I came on to the show and I was telling you guys, like, dude, like, Britt's on fire. We already know this, but it doesn't feel like they're building enough new women to essentially be these credible challengers, these credible opponents to Britt Baker. Like, Britt Baker is at the top of the mountain peak right now, but she's kind of got not very many people to essentially be there with her. And so it seems to me like that's what they're going to start to do with Kris Statlander. Like, Kris Statlander has been, ever since she came back, she's been getting, those wins and all of that. So good for her. But even more so, this match with Nyla Rose, this was a really, really good, I don't know, not like a breakout performance by any means, because we know what Kris Statlander can do, but it was more of, I think, a reminder of what Kris Statlander can do. It felt like a reminder to me. So quickly, we see Nyla Rose essentially go for the attack right away on Kris Statlander. She pounces her, and then Statlander does, later on in the match, we see Statlander do a moonsault from the ring apron onto Nyla, who's on the outside of the ring, and that was a great visual. There's a moment where Vicky Guerrero yells loudly in Orange Cassidy's ear, who's at ringside, but then in the match, we also see a moment where Kris Statlander is walking on her hands. She started playing with the crowd and all of that, and Nyla uses that to her advantage to spear her. But then we see Statlander powerbomb her, and in the end, she hits the area 451 and defeats Nyla Rose. So this was great in terms of they really did a lot to show what Kris Statlander can do in this short amount of time. So I was a fan of this, and I like Kris Statlander getting this clean victory over Nyla Rose. And it looks like she's, bound to be a potential challenger to Britt Baker at some point. So what do you guys think? Go ahead and send in your thoughts here. We got a super chat from Dr. Sophia Bonilla, DWO EVP, who says Statlander 10 out of 10. Britsburg DMD is a heel. I have to agree. Statlander 10 out of 10. And Eric points out that handstand spot was clever. I liked it. I was a fan of that. And a lot of people don't like that there was just one match for the women. AEW has been criticized a lot about that, and it's just I don't even know what to say anymore. I really don't even know what to say on that, but I just think that I think they're trying. I will say that they are trying, and we have been seeing them try, because there was a lot of criticism on the AEW women's division for a very long time. And now they just need to build women up, because if they want to keep Britt Baker hot, and she's going to have a lot of hype, because, she's good at promos and the people like her, but you are going to need some hot challengers for her. So they're going to have to get other women hot as well. And so let's see what else we got here. And someone said, no, Milo, you're not blocked, BTW. Someone was asking if they were blocked. No, they're not blocked. You do not get blocked on the stream unless you're just, outlandish or something. Anyways, but here we go. And let's see what else we got here. And let's see what else we got. Kenny is pushing. Okay, we got so many different comments on here, guys. So many different comments on this. And this was a comment from Wrestle War who thought this was a good match with a clean finish. Enjoyed it. Justin Martin says that was Statlander's biggest win in AEW so far. She really seems positioned to be the potential challenger at All Out. And Pro Wrestling Fan says, when Kris pulled Nyla off the apron, I was scared because Nyla landed through the ring skirt and I heard a tear or something. Luckily, she was good. I did like that spot too as well, because you did see Nyla kind of go into that off into like the inside of the apron. So might not have been what was intentioned, but it did come across as very interesting during that match. And we got a comment from Pomi Wrestling who says, wouldn't be surprised if Kris Statlander wins the Casino Battle Royal at All Out. So I think for the most part, people here are loving Kris Statlander winning clean and kind of going more and more so in that direction with her. I'm a fan. Iron Ice Corey says, definitely need to build more women baby faces for Britt. A lot of filler matches tonight. They really could have elevated some women. Ty Conti is great. Ty Conti, she has been showing that she has a lot of potential. And if they just keep working with her and they keep highlighting her, she could definitely be an option as well. I would not sleep on Ty Conti. So I do agree with this comment from Iron Eyes Corey. And all right, guys, here we go. Let's move on here. All right, so we have another segment here. Let's jump into the Young Bucks and this fun little interaction. So last week, one of the major things that we were talking about were those Easter eggs, because you had the Elite in the basketball court. You had them, Kenny Omega with that Cookie Monster shirt, them cutting the net and all of that good stuff. So we're back to this location here. And the Young Bucks are on the basketball court, and they're basically talking about how nobody is on their league. No team is on their league whatsoever. And then they're about to shoot like their shot into like the actual basketball. But then Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, they come in and they essentially block those shots from them. And then Luchasaurus basically just does the Dikembe spy where he says like, no, not today, not in my house, that whole thing. That was really funny. I was a fan of this. Really quick, really easy, good stuff here. Let's see what else we got here. Bloody Blue says, Denise, I'm impressed you knew the Dikembe reference. Dude, it was like all over the place. I know I'm usually not on top of like everything, especially like in the sports world, but that is something that was like all over the place. All right. Like everywhere, memes, commercials, you name it. It was definitely there. And we got a comment from Marco Chavez who says Jurassic Express seems like the team to dethrone the Bucks. Here's the thing, man, with AEW's tag team division is that there's a lot of teams that I feel could dethrone the Young Bucks. Like I still want to see, Lucha Brothers have their run. I want to see Santana and Ortiz have their run. I want to see Jurassic Express have their run. I mean, there are so many different options. So there you go. All right, guys. And moving on. So after this, we had Red Velvet vignette. She's basically just talking about her route to AEW. I like this. We're leading into their match at Rampage. And then after this, it is time to talk about Britt Baker, DMD, because she is in her hometown and she's going to be in her hometown also on Rampage. And a lot was kind of announced here. So first and foremost, I thought it was really cool that they went all out and they gave everybody in the crowd, like, or at least it looked like everybody or most people, those they gave them towels to essentially like spin around when Britt Baker comes out. I thought that was a really, really nice touch, and it kind of made things feel like an even bigger deal. And so Tony Schiavone asked Britt Baker essentially to comment on the rise of Red Velvet. And Britt Baker kind of hits us with, she can't comment on the rise of Red Velvet because she can't relate to that. She says, I've always been at the top of AEW and I've always been at the top of the women's division. However, she then says that she can relate to Red Velvet's fearlessness. And by that she means is that Britt Baker was not afraid to step up when AEW needed a new women's champion. So that was a really nice touch there. She then tells Pittsburgh that she's here to present them hope, and she raises up the championship, gets a very nice pop. And then Red Velvet, she says to Red Velvet, in any other city, you may have had a chance, but not here. Then we also find out that this is going to be the main event of Rampage. So we now know what match is opening up Rampage, and that is Kenny Omega, Christian Cage for the Impact World title. And now we know that Britt Baker and Red Velvet for the AEW Women's Championship will be closing out the show. And that is a big deal. Well, it's a big deal for Britt Baker, obviously, because she's the champion. She's in her hometown. This is a, debut show. So good for her to get that main event spot. But then it's also really good for Red Velvet because she hasn't been in a match like this. This is like a big scale match. Like, yeah, she had that match that was high profile with Shaquille O'Neal and Jade and Cody and all of that. But this is different. This is literally the main event of their premiere episode of Rampage. So that is a pretty big deal. And I think that was pretty cool. After this, Red Velvet comes out and they brawl. Simple. I like this. Great promo from Britt Baker as always. Good stuff from Red Velvet. Honestly, Red Velvet has impressed me each and every single time that she's been coming out into the ring. So I'm definitely a fan of what she's been bringing to this. But let's see what else we got here, guys. Iron says that Britt was the star of the segment. Of course, Britt is on another level. 100% on another level, but I'm cool. But it's cool with that. And someone says that they're like Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know anything about Pittsburgh Steelers, so I'm not even going to comment on that, guys. I told you, my knowledge of football is very, very, very little. Very little. Let's see what else we got here. People are saying that Red Velvet is money. I agree. I think that they got a lot of potential with her there. And, we all know that she's not going to win, but that's okay. It's going to be good stuff, okay? Really good stuff there. Bloody Blue says, Britt is a mega star. So great to see her get that reaction. Of course, I mean, when I was there at Double or Nothing, that reaction that Britt Baker got, holy cow, I was completely just like amazed by the reaction. Being there and hearing it on TV and being there, two totally different things. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and move on. And Edwin Pacino says, hey, Denise, what do you think of this Cody and Brandy Rhodes new reality show? Oh, I didn't even read the article on that. The article came out for that, but I did not read it. So I don't have much information on that, but I'm not into reality TV. I kind of hate reality TV. I never watched Total Divas, Total Bellas, Ms. and Mrs. Like, I'm not into reality television whatsoever. However, I would say it does help to have a reality TV show, because if you want to attract a mainstream audience and a different kind of audience, the reality TV space, oh my gosh, like you have diehard fans in reality TV. Like it is insane. I work with a lot of people that don't know anything about wrestling, nothing about wrestling, but reality TV is their life. Like these Real Housewives shows and, Sister Wives and all of this other stuff, right? I don't even know how many shows there are at this point. The Bachelorette, The Bachelor, all of those shows, right? And every time I talk to these people, the only people that they know in wrestling are Nikki, Brie. They know a lot. Some people even tell me like they know the Miz just because of Ms. and Mrs. So if you do want to, step outside this wrestling bubble and get some of those other eyes, reality TV is the way to go. Will I be watching? Most likely not, because I am not a fan of reality TV. I do like reality TV competition though. That's totally different. Like The Voice, I'm into that. Dancing with the Stars, into that type of stuff, but not like the scripted drama. I'm going to throw my drinks in your face. Girls just being mean to each other. Not into that. All right, let's see what else we got here. And then there's that really popular one, the 90 Day Fiance. I tried watching that one too. It's terrible. Josh Bowen just proved my point. He says his wife hates WWE but loves Ms. and Mrs. There you go. It attracts a certain audience, guys. Like my mom is a big reality TV fan. Like she watches all of that stuff. She knows Nikki Bella. She followed the whole story with like Nikki and John Cena. She has no idea who anybody else is. El Prophet Jr. 88 says Total Divas brought a lot of women's viewers to WWE. AEW needs to raise their women's audience. Yeah. All right, guys, let's do this. Oh God, we still got quite a bit to talk about. Okay, I need to move faster. All right, let's see. All right, so we got a Starks promo as well. It says he's gonna be on Dynamite next week by himself, ready to face off against Brian Cage. That was really quickly. BTW, thank you so much to Catherine Spinoza for sending in a super sticker. I thank you so much for sending that in. You're awesome. Thank you so much to Catherine. And then after this, we had Evil Uno and Stu Grayson versus Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, the Good Brothers, for the Impact Tag Team titles. This was a fine match, guys. Like, in terms of, it was a fast match. It wasn't a lengthy match, but they did have a lot of fun spots throughout this match for the time limit that they had, for the time that it took, excuse me. Stu Grayson took everybody out with a Tope con Hero before the bell even rang. Frankie Kazarian ran out and met Cutler on the apron with a clothesline and then ended up taking him to the back. Stu Grayson ended up hitting the 450 on Carl Anderson. Evil Uno went for the pin, but was not able to get it after that. Evil Uno launched Stu Grayson onto Doc Gallows. That was a pretty fun spot there. Carl Anderson hits the stunner on Evil Uno. They hit the Magic Killer on Stu Grayson, and that is how they are able to win and retain their title. So good stuff. Again, that Forbidden Door opening up. For those of you guys who do not know, I did talk to Christopher Daniels last night on the Heels red carpet, and this was one of the matches that he was talking about. Like, he was putting over the fact that you're going to have the Impact World titles essentially being defended on AEW television, and kind of talking about that Forbidden Door. And he was just kind of saying, like, it's a really exciting time to be a wrestling fan because of things like this. You get to see these matchups that you might not have expected to see. And all right, guys, we're going to jump right into this next segment. I'm going to be real honest here, guys. So please do not hate me. I told you guys I will always be honest with you guys. If I do not like something, I will say it, and I will say it. I will say it. QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, Nick Camarado, Tony Schiavone. You have this whole thing go down. QT comes out and he starts telling Tony that he should apologize to him. And quite frankly, I was like, what is he talking about? I don't even remember what happened. So I truly did not care from the very beginning. But then he tells them, no, I'm going to apologize to you because of what we're going to do. Then they grab his son out of the audience there. They pull him out there. They attack him. All right, Paul White ends up coming out and he gets into the ring. He's pissed off. QT Marshall tosses Aaron right into him, leaving him to face the big man all to himself. Paul White is pissed, so he chokeslams him and stares down QT Marshall. I do not care about this. I have zero interest in seeing QT Marshall and Paul White. So this was not for me, guys. I was not a fan of this, and I thought, oh, this is really what we're doing? All right, cool, whatever. I wasn't a fan of this. And there's really not much to say. Ethan Martin says the only thing he liked about this segment was the choke slam at the end. Wrestle War says, please stop trying to make QT a thing. That reminded me of the Mean Girls line, which is why I read it. A lot of people were not fans of it, guys. I'm trying to find one comment of somebody saying they enjoyed this. Someone says that it should have been a segment on Dark. Hell, it could have been a segment on Rampage. Dang, I don't know. Anything but this. Christopher Marino says the entire QT Marshall thing has been going on for months, has gotten no one over. No, if anything, I would say it kind of has like the... kind of has a little bit of go-away heat for me, at least. That's how I feel. Frank Gala says Tony's son didn't sell the cutter at all. He came off as zero intensity there. Not a fan of this. Evian Sanita says most people don't like QT, including me, but it's interesting to see him versus Paul. That might work and have fun for sure. I'm glad you have hope, Evian. I appreciate your hope there. Thank you. Someone says they enjoyed it. Robert Mulligan didn't say why, but I just think for the most part, a lot of people kind of do not care. All right. We're moving on. I don't want to spend more time on that. All right, let's talk about the lineup for AEW Rampage. Impact World Championship match. Kenny Omega, Christian Cage opening up the show. TNT Championship on the line. Miro will be defending his title against Fuego del Sol. AEW Women's Championship main eventing. Britt Baker, versus Red Velvet. Obviously, she's defending her title. That is what has been announced for Rampage. Also, some matches announced for next week's Dynamite. We have the AEW Tag Team Championships on the line. The Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. I'm really looking forward to that match. That is the match that I'm most looking forward to next week, I would say. Shawn Spears versus Sammy Guevara, and Sammy is also set to make some sort of major announcement, so we'll see what that's going to be. Darby Allin and Sting versus 2.0, formerly Everrise, in a Texas Tornado match. That should be fun because, hell, Sting is going to be in the ring, so that's going to be very fun as well. There you go. That's the lineup for that. Now, it is time to talk about that main event, Chris Jericho versus Wardlow, and the fourth labor with MJF being on the corner of Wardlow. As I mentioned at the top of this show, the opening promo was MJF and Wardlow, and MJF is essentially putting on this pressure on Wardlow. Wardlow not looking too happy about it. This match was like, this was not my favorite main event. AEW has had a lot of really strong main events. This was just a match. Wardlow stops Jericho in the corner of the ring. They go at it on the outside of the ring. Wardlow drives Jericho onto the post. Once they get back into the ring, Wardlow power bombs Jericho. I believe we go to a commercial break, come back. MJF tries to enter the ring, but the official catches him and ejects him from ringside. Jericho ends up hitting Wardlow with a bat, hits him with the Judas effect, and gets the win. And now Chris Jericho will be going on to that fifth and final labor. He will be facing MJF. And prior to MJF announcing the stipulation for this, we did see Shawn Spears attack Chris Jericho, but then Sammy comes out to help out Chris Jericho, but both Sammy and Jericho are outnumbered. So then Jake Hager comes out to help out MJF, to help them out, but MJF and Wardlow and Shawn Spears end up leaving. MJF grabs the mic and he says that the fifth stipulation for the fifth labor is that he will take something away from Chris Jericho, that he cannot use the Judas effect. In fact, the Judas effect is banned for this next stipulation, and also says that he will not be coming out to any music. So the Judas song is off the table here. He is going to come out to dead silence. So unless the crowd wants to sing the entire song, that is the only way you're going to hear that song next week. Is that match taking place next week? I don't know if that. I think it's taking place next week. You guys can correct me on this. Anyways, that was the main event. What did you guys think about this? All right, we're getting so many different comments here. Intoxicated Cricket says, I was hoping for Mimosa Mayhem 2. Makapi says, Sammy will have the lyrics on cue card. I don't even think I know all the lyrics to Judas, to be honest. Like, I don't even sing the song if I'm being realistic here. And let's see what else we got here. Bloody Blue says, as a match, it was nothing special, but in regards to storyline, they did everything right. Slarty says, I don't get into botches, but Wardlow dropped him like twice. I didn't notice that, so that was probably just my fault. D-Eddie says, commentary trying to build up Wardlow over Nick Gage and Juventud was hilarious. Match was too long. And that's not to take away anything from Wardlow. It's just that when you have that match with Nick Gage was awesome. And I know a lot of people aren't into that, death match style of wrestling. I get it. But at the end of the day, like, it was up here and everything else kind of felt just a notch below that, to be honest. And let's see what else we got here. Everybody's making fun of my I don't know how else to say when a match is not that great. It's just All right. And let's see what else we got here. I think for the most part, everybody kind of feels the same exact way. This one's a comment from Iron Eyes, who believes that Wardlow's been underwhelming during his AEW run so far. They can do a lot more with him, but you can argue that about a lot of different talents. Frank says that Nick Gage should have been the fourth labor. Yeah, I would have definitely swapped that Nick Gage Hoovy match. I would have definitely swapped those two matches. So I agree. I definitely agree here. And we have a comment from Slarty who says, I did teach myself that first verse of Judas, didn't want to be ignorant. I appreciate the comedy here. Keith Duran says Wardlow looks like a monster but is still learning, and that he is going and then Lenny adds that he is going to be a long-term project there. Alrighty, guys, there you go. That's pretty much it. That was AEW Dynamite. Again, a lot went down on the show. Not my favorite show, but still an entertaining show overall. And that was it. I will be back on Friday to talk about SmackDown and Rampage. That is going to be a lot of fun, especially with Rampage, because we don't know. I mean, we have a couple matches announced, but we still don't know how the feel for the show is going to be, what it's going to look like, and just all of that stuff. So, guys, I hope to see you back here on Friday. If not, I will also be back next week on Tuesday to talk about NXT. Also, then again, I will be back on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite, and then again Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. So that's going to be fun. Actually, so the 20th show, the Rampage on the 20th, I am going to be in Las Vegas, guys. So don't judge me. My setup's going to be in a hotel room. So it's not going to be this setup, but still tune in because I will still be doing the show from my hotel room in Las Vegas. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your support. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And until next time, I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye, everybody.